The rail company Northern says 4 passengers and 4 members of staff were on board a train which came off the tracks near Grange-over-Sands this morning.
So I knew what was going on. I thought they're either dropping ballast or something's come off the road. I looked out the window to just see the front unit there burying itself in the ballast.
If you enjoy these videos and like to support me, TE, and also get some behind the scenes content, please consider joining Patreon. Oh, I didn't see it there. It's me, Thomas Edward, also known as TE. If you can hear me over the wind, we've got a big storm coming in. Is furnace line falling into sea? Part 4. What's 3 years later? 3 years ago, I did a series of his furnace line falling into the sea, and we did 3 parts when they're rebuilding the top part of the seawall. I'm just using my new gammon stick there, and you're rebuilding the top part of the seawall, this side and the other side of Home Island Causeway. Now we've come back 3 years later because, as a lot of you might know, on the 22nd March 2024 we had a derailment on the outskirts of Grange-over-Sands at 6 AM in the morning. Now I don't film politics and I don't film accidents, because I've seen people getting in touch, why haven't you been filming it, you're local to that, why haven't you filmed it? I'm not interested. I'm only interested in the line, the history, and sort of the ergonomics of how it all works all together. So we thought we'd come and do that instead. Now there's a girl in Bentham done a very good video of it, and when you re-railed it and put it back on the tracks, the class 195, but that's fair enough. I'm just here to come here with my stick, point around and show you what the job in hand is and why it's all gone very, very wrong. So let's go and have a mooch. So this behind me, when we came in and filmed 3 years ago, is Seldom Seen culvert. They dug it out with an inshore digger, big digger, and we filmed a bit of it and did some photos. Now this culvert is actually what we're going to talk about today, mainly because this whole coastline here was very hard to build when they built the furnace line. What's behind is what we stood on the sea wall of. What's behind is all the way along there. We're going to have a look in a book. There's a very famous man called Leslie Gilpin, who you may know, who does railway videos now in Carlisle. He's ended up having a showbiz in later years. And he's got a very good book, How This Causeway Was Built. And we're going to go in more detail about that. But one of the main things is this culvert here is actually the original run of the River Winster. What's actually further down there now because they re-diverted it. Now you'll be thinking, why am I going to talk about this and I'm not going to talk about why the actual line's falling in? Well, it all links up. That where those pipes are, where the train derailed and all the tamper bursted, blah blah blah, is only happening because this is blocked up and they re-diverted the Winster down there. So it all makes sense at the end of this video. Then you'll be like, I did not know that. But we're going to walk down and show you a bit more detail before I actually get the book open and show you the lay of the land and what it used to look like here before now. So as you can see, Seldom Seen here has silted up. That's one of the main problems. It's the locals call it Seldom Seen because there's a rock over there what you don't see very often. Now the cameraman's going to run over there and show it you. So that's a very out of breath cameraman who's just ran all the way over to Seldom Seen rock over there, and I hope you got a good view. It looked quite comical from over here running around, but there you go. Let's get on down the coastline and show you a bit more details into what we're talking about today. Right, we'll get to the first port of call. As we get down here, it's more destruction, but this is the first bit of wall we come to, and this is sort of where the class 195 sort of ended up. It was a bit past the signal, because obviously it was a 6-car set 2 units together. Now today, on the 5th of April, they've had a digger on the rails with a very long arm and a bucket on, scraping the rocks to the top and putting them on the trap bed. And this is the bottom of what the shovel has been making today. I have actually got some footage from a well-known friend who's done a bit of filming actually from the very day it happened all the way through. So I've got quite a lot of footage what's unseen, more than probably a lot of people have. What's quite good actually. That's why I've been waiting, because there's quite a lot of footage what a friend has been doing for me. So I can show you that. Now we're going to walk down, and as you see, it will get a bit more worse, and where the whole wall's totally gone. But let's get down there and have a mooch. Bit more here. You see where he's been scraping up. Now he's done a lot of scraping up here today and yesterday. A lot of it's gone. There was a lot of big boulders here. You can still see some of them on the sea wall. And as we get down, that's what he hasn't done, and there's still quite a lot down there. But let's go and have a look. Now, what the furnace line is famous for is semaphore signals. We're sort of one of the last lines in the country to have these. Now, it was very lucky that the seawall saved him, and also if you looked at it when the unit was still on the tracks, I think sort of when he was going down the tracks and sort of off the tracks stopped him from going any further through the seawall, and would have landed down here, would have been a lot worse. Now, he's wiped out half the wall, but as you can see, but he didn't wipe out the semaphore signal, as it's quite good going. No, not being disrespectful or anything, but it's quite good going that he didn't wipe that out. He's ripped out all the lines when he's been going down the ballast foot to control the semaphore, but it's still here and it can still live to tell another day. What's quite interesting, you just think the amount of stuff that's seen, and it didn't even get wiped out by train derail, and it survived. So it was something was looking on its side that day as a signal. And I tell you what, you wouldn't like to be walking down here that morning at 6 AM in the morning with your dog, because he would have got brained by a big bit of rock or even a train on your head. That's how bad it was. And a close friend actually saw it happen. He went to the bog, came back, looked out when he went, before he looked out anyway, he went, that's a train derailing. Looked out when he went, and it was. So he actually, I think he's the only person in Grange-over-Sands to see it happen. That's quite a rare thing. Now he's still got all these to scrape up. Still, he's had a go here. We're getting near to where the main accident happened straight away down here, and we'll show you a bit more. But I'm just showing these rocks. It's amazing. This coastline's well known for its seawood, but at the moment it's well known for its seawall in the sea. Now just think these been 1800s. These have long time. They've lasted all the way to 2024, and then ended up down here. But just think, men didn't have many machines when they were putting these on, but now they have machines where when you rebuild this wall all these years later, they will actually be a lot easier than it was all those years ago. Cameraman's just getting for the tricky bit there. Look at the stick. I think he would have needed a stick. The thing, it doesn't help that he's carrying like quite a lot of money's worth of camera in his hand, where I'm not. If I'm looking down here, I'm just trying to keep the wind away from the mic, it looks like the digger's been down this side as well, looking at the tracks in the grass. So he's been on top and at the bottom, scooping all the rocks up, stones. We've tried to film this the last few days and it keeps raining, and this is the best day we can, and even the storm's coming in now. That's why it's so wet. You see it sliding and slipping around. The storm's coming across the bay. You can't even see Heysham, Morecambe, you can't even see Blackpool Tower today. It's you can see Humphrey Head though, where the last Wolves in England was caught. The thing is, they always tell you You live on Arnside for the sunset, and you live in Grange-over-Sands for the sunrise. Now, I actually like Grange-over-Sands better than Arnside. There's a bit more view. Arnside, you're in your own little, you're in an estuary anyway, but you're in your own sort of like alcove down there, and you can't see what you can in Grange. You know, you good night, you can see Blackpool, you can see Heysham. I can just see Heysham power plant coming through the mist. See Grange, you can see Morecambe, you can see Bolton Sands, and you can just see the edge of Carnforth. And you can see the windmills at the back of Carnforth where David Bleasdale works in the quarry. So you can see everywhere. It's a full panorama view in Grange-over-Sands when you're looking across Morecambe Bay. And if you're lucky enough to live with a bit of height in Grange, you get a really, really good view. But you've got to have a bit of cash to get in a nice house on the hill. But anyway, maybe one day with a bit of TE showbiz money. This is the digger here, what's been scraping up all the rocks today. He's been on the track bed. He's actually not a trail, he's not a road track machine, you know, what sits on the rails. He's actually on his tracks on top of the rails because they are going to replace. We'll go and have a look actually, because all the workmen have gone home now. They've gone home for the tea. There he goes. Look, he's sat right on top of the rails, as you can see. Now we're right on top of where the sinkhole appeared and what we're going to talk about, why it appeared. So he's right on top here, and this digger's actually been in the hole. They've dug so deep into the banking. If I can show you for a bit of B-roll from the other side. But you couldn't see the digger, you know, the banking's so deep. They've dug it right down to the original pipes, what we'll show you. And there's the golf club over there. Where on a good day you can go and play around, but on a bad day it's full of water and you've got to have a hovercraft to even get over it. Right, so as you can see, you might not be able to hear me in the wind, I'll have to talk a bit louder. The furnace line's actually become a road, a makeshift road, because they've dug it out so much to sort out the problem, but they can actually drive the diggers up onto the tracks rather than go down to Home Island Crossing and get on the tracks there. So it's just think you won't be able to see it, well, unless anything else happens on this line in years to come. You won't see this, so it's quite rare to come and have a look at this. You know, no one's seen that dirt underneath since he built it. And talking of that dirt, it comes on to a very interesting thing that actually I will explain more in detail when I show you the Leslie Gilfin book. But furnace line is actually built on sands, and you can see it there. We'll talk into more of that when we'll show you in the book how they built this embankment and the railway line. Here's some actual plans what were in Leslie's book of when they were making the embankment on the furnace line as we know it today. So as you can see on these diagrams as it goes up, the first one, it shows you they had to start with a toe at the bottom of the bank, and you can see how big the embankment is as they built it up. And if you can really, you'll probably see it better on the big screen. There's sand at the bottom, and then it says puddle. That will mean puddle clay, what to seal it in. And then there'll be, it looks like little bits of stones, and then there's pitching, like big keystones, obviously what the seawall is today. But they had to use what was around them, so all the navvies dragged up lots of sand and dirt from both sides of the railway line and made it up into the embankment. But they started small and built it. But as they were going along, it actually kept falling in, and because it was just a big marsh underneath. Exactly the same problem they have now in 2024 and 2025. So they just have to keep piling it in. This diagram I have here shows the line, and the blue bit is the sea, and the two green bits what are inland are what the original seabed used to be before they cut it off by the railway. Now the bit we're concentrating on it is the Winster Bay, where the red circle shows you. Now originally it's called the Winster Bay because we have the Winster River. Now the Winster River isn't, the place it's today isn't the original place it used to run. So when they were building the furnace line, the River Winster used to sort of come out round Home Island, but it used to move. It wasn't set to a particular path, it used to move round Home Island. Now when they were building the embankment, it kept falling in. and it kept falling in because the tide, it used to build it up and the tide used to come in and take it out. So they had to use wood and stones to protect the banking while they made it up so the tide won't get to it. And they also, while they were doing this, they had to reroute the Winster, because the Winster sort of come out where the golf club is tonight. Actually, the River Winster sort of comes out around where the sinkhole happened, but give or take. And so they rerouted it and made like a canal. If you look at the River Winster today, it's like a canal, like a very straight, long, man-made canal with a sea gate on it at the end. And so they had to do that to push it away so it wouldn't come out where it did originally. And the green arrow shows it roughly where it comes out today. The red ones is sort of roughly where it used to come out, but it sort of moved. So the golf club basically is a massive seabed. And as I said in my video, water finds where water used to be. So it's still technically a seabed now. This piece of line actually took 2 years to build because it kept falling in. Every time they built it up, it fell in again. So it took a long time to build. But when it was built and it was all done, 2 years after, the Earl of Burlington walked it, and it was still kind of like falling in, and the worst point was actually where the original River Winster was, and he actually said that was the weak point still, 2 years after it was built. But I'm going to get down, it's a bit windy up here, I'm getting blown from left, right and centre, so let's get down to the bottom and show you these pipes pumping away. Got me stick. Right, we've come down to the business end, as they'd say. Now, this here, I'm going to show you, I'm going to learn with TE here. Now, that middle pipe there, the metal one, has been there for donkey's years, years and years and years. And that metal pipe has run to an electric pump in the golf club, what's on the other side. Now, that's a good 5 foot underneath the railway line in its own concrete casing. Now, the two pipes either side are temporary pipes they put in 10 years ago, temporary pipes, and this was 10 years ago, put in so they could connect diesel pumps up to them when they needed them. Now, from being local and knowing people around here, for the last 2 years, that's been pretty much every day through the winter. Those pumps are being in, running, and you can hear them at night 24/7. Now, those pipes are only just below the ballast between the sleepers. Both of them are really close underneath. Now, the day before, there was a full day of this line running before it fell, this line falling into sea as we touted in the video. It literally did fall in. They did tamping. Now, there's letters going around Grange of what they said, oh, we're going to do this tamping this night, you know, they might get woke up, blah, blah, blah. Now, there was a report come from that tamper, those crew on that tamper that night, that they damaged one of these two black pipes. Now, but there's an official report, what's not come out to say about this, but they did report it, that they damaged it. Now, say you go back 30 plus years, 40 years, this whole stretch of line would have had a team of men who would have walked this line and known every inch of it. And when that would have got reported, he would have come on and looked at it. Now, Network Rail, this is nothing against them, by the way. This is just how they work now. Everything's privatised and it's not one hub anymore. Network Rail goes, oh, we damaged it. They're all over the place. They might not get there for a few weeks because it's so spread and there's no much money in it. All this carry on, as you know. So I don't think it got looked at. And then it had a day of pumping. No, because these have been pumping up to that point 24/7, as I said. And they're pumping with a lot of pressure like those two are, what are put in as relief while they're doing the work. They're pumping like that all the time, these other two. Now, that's a lot of pressure, and when the tide comes in, because we're on a beach here, tide line of where the tide's been with all this seagrass, as you'd call it, and seaweed and everything else. And now it's been really high, the tide, and when the tide comes in, in these pipes, it builds back pressure. So it's building back pressure in these pipes, and you know, obviously the tide's also going up the pipe as it's trying to pump out. And it's obviously it's had a split or a bit of damage in it, and it's all gonna all be wrong underneath the ballast. And as we said before, the furnace line is built on sands. This whole embankment's built on sands, just to get it to build up, because they spent days and days trying to build this embankment, and the sea kept washing it away. Obviously, water and sand go very hand in hand, but they don't do a lot of greatness together. You know, wet sand is no use. So it's just collapsed underneath. And obviously a day of running trains over the top of it before it completely caved in has weakened it a lot. And then that, unfortunately, that very early train got the consequences of what has happened. Very lucky it stayed on the line. It could have been a lot worse, and it could have been a lot worse for 2 hours later. DRS was meant to come past in their nuclear train, what could have been a lot worse. And all this a few miles away, all the way up into town and all the way down to Meathop, could have been evacuated, and no one would have been in the houses, and it would have been like a ghost town, because there'd be lots of men in funny suits and lots of armed policemen with those semi-automatic machine guns like they have at Heysham or they have at Sellafield. So luckily it wasn't that. Now these two pipes here are the relief pipes while they're working on the line. So they've got two in, they've got another big pump in. Tell you what, the companies for the pumps, they're probably trying, it's like, oh, let's, you know, they've had electric pumping, and then they've had a diesel generator, now they've got their own pumps in. It's like, wonder which pump's been best. They've tried every pump in the system to try and pump it out, because on the other side, it's been flooded, seriously flooded, and it's got worse every year, and I think this has been the worst year, and we've had a lot more rain this year, and 2023. On the other side, it is, watch me stick there, is a natural, it's a natural water. The water knows where it once was. Lindale, what's a few miles up there, used to be a fishing village. There is a fishing cottage halfway up the hill. You wouldn't think it, because the tide's so far away from it now. So if this embankment wasn't here, the tide would wash right up to Lindale like it used to do. So when water does get build up on that side from rain and everything else, it floods it massively because of that. So, and also the, yeah, anyway, that's about it really. We'll walk on down to Home Island Crossing, walk rounds, show you the golf club where it's sort of been flooded up. We might walk down the road and show you where it does flood on the road. I don't know if it's too flooded, it might be. And show you what the problem is. And so you can see, you get the full picture here with TE live in 2024. Anyway, let's get over the hole. I'm going to have a jump with my stick. So that's a TE theory of what might have happened and everything what has happened. Now what I forgot to say in that segment, what I was talking about, is these are pumping so hard because Southern Seam, the culvert we started at, has silted up there, and Winster down there, what's the river, what comes right down from the central Lake District, is also blocked up. So this is why this is pumping so hard, and why it's here in the first place, because of those two problems there, and that's why it's got worse. This is Home Island Crossing here. Now you can see behind us there's some lights what they put all prevent the night, it's sort of half an hour day or night after, I can't remember now. And it's all emergency lights they put up. Now they did run right up to where the train was, but now they've took some of them out. But also you can see from here at the crossing how far the sinkhole and where they've dug it out is. You can see where the digger is, that's where it is. It's a long way up from the crossing, a long way up. So when the police turned up that morning, they had a long way up the track. God, listen to that wind, it's howling. It's properly howling. Now here, this is very tame, this is, but this is the whole cause of the problem, is water filling up in the golf club and filling up the road. Now actually you can see it's very tame. I say tame because it normally floods from down there towards the Winster all the way up past the golf club, and all the golf club is underwater. And hole number 1 I don't think has been used very much because that's the one that gets to hit the most. But the golf club's flooded for years and years, but it's been really bad this year. You need a hovercraft, not a golf cart, you need a hovercraft. And you can see some of it's what Stu left, what the Stu trying to pump out, but it's a losing battle because it just comes back after the rain. So we'll walk down here now to the where the gate is to come up to Home Island Crossing. They always say, when my mum always says, T's mum always says, once you get a duck on a pond what isn't meant to be a pond, it's always going to be a pond. And I can safely say this has been a pond for 10 years plus. So it definitely is a pond. So here, this is the end of Home Island driveway, so to speak, what goes up to the crossing up there behind us. Now, early 2022, this here was really flooded. And me and the Patreon cameraman came wading around in wellies, and you could not get past that sign there to get to the gate. It was deep. It was really deep. And now, you know, in standard wellies, obviously you're not in waders, but it was deep. Normally when this floods down here, some years you can sort of wade back and forward in wellies and just get through. It's right at the top, but this was really deep about a year ago. And I think even this winter gone it was that deep. So let's get down. Now, this isn't the gate. I just want to do a bit of TE factual interlude here. This gate is only about 12 months old because the Network Rail, or someone did some work around here and they backed into it, I think, or broke it, so they had to put a new gate up. It used to be a lot older gate than this, but this is only about 12 months old now. Bit of a factual interlude with TE there. Now, we're going to walk down here today just to show you where it's still flooded. Now, obviously, this has been on the water here, but it's still flooded down there. Still can't get rid of it. So we're just going to show you. And we're walking towards Winster River. That's the way we're sort of going, if you get your geography right. As you can see, Meafop Road is still very much underwater at this section. This is the bit what, if it does flood, goes first before it spreads. Now, I remember even 10 years ago coming down here in old BMs and it's still be flooded like this. But it's got worse and worse every year and gone further up past the golf club or right further down. Now the problem with this section is, where it's caused a lot of problems, is you don't see, it's behind all that debris and trees they've actually put in recently. There's a big ditch, there's a big 6 foot plus ditch at the side of the road. Now, so many people drove into that, and a local legend, Ben Barker, has actually posted on Facebook a police van in that, actually a week before the derailment on the furnace line. They ended up in a ditch. So to prevent people to prevent them going in a ditch, you've put a load of wood and debris up to say, do not go down there, because the road's on the left, not on the right. Now, there's a farm 2 across, and he's got rid of 300 cows this year because he couldn't spread his slurry on the fields because it's so waterlogged. And this farm behind us actually does YouTube videos of when this has been flooded in his New Holland tractor, and he's put a sign up here what tells you about if you ever had any problems with this stretch of road with the flooding, and you know, is it cause you harm and all that. he said get in touch with me, and it sort of got green and gone off. It's been splashed so many times by water. 3 years ago it was put up, that. Now I can't remember his name, but all I know is he drives a New Holland tractor. You see him all the time, and he does videos on YouTube of towing cars out of here. Oh, there's a runner coming, he's going to get wet feet. Of pulling cars out of here and driving up and down, showing people and saying we've talked to the environment agencies, the council, everyone, the meetings about the problems we've had, because obviously he's a farmer, he's had problems with it. And he's done a bit. I'll show you a picture of his YouTube. I can't remember what his name is. But anyway, there's a man here. This is a very popular road for runners and cyclists because it's on the cycle map. It's like a national cycleway down Meathop Road. Oh, he's going in golf club. He's popped into a bush. He's either going in for a Jimmy Riddle or he's gone to walk round. Paul Whitehouse would make something out of this. We just helped a man we just saved a man's life by telling him, don't go up there because he'll fall in. Go back where you came and go around. But he's a bit of a daredevil. He's a bit of a daredevil and decided to jump it there. He did make it, but he nearly fell back in. He's just cleaning the mud off his boots and his hands there. And he'll just say, go back up there and then come out the clubhouse. That's the best way. Right, so we come to the Meathop side of where it's pumping from and where it's always been pumping from. Over there, I'd like to point out that old green shed there is the original electric pump for the golf club. And when they said they had the two pipes what supposedly got damaged, there on the top of the wall there, you can just see them. The ones right at the top of the wall are the original, the pipes that they put in temporary, and then you can just see in that foam sort of stuff, that's the original one underneath. Now, when they used to put in emergency diesel generators, it used to be here on a little bit of patch of land behind there. You wouldn't be able to tell it was even there now. And then when they did this, yeah, you can see the original pipe there where it used to go to. And you can see some of it, this is the original pipe here. The original one what's been in years and years and years, what was bedded in concrete. That's that one there. Now when they did this, they ripped all the trees out. They should really rip all the trees out because it damages the bank, the trees. They ripped all this out and dug themselves into the banking, so to speak. But these lads here, the lads have changed over from who was originally working when they built it, not built it, when they originally did the work here to now. These lads here, what is it, Geology? These are specialists in reinforcing of embankments and even drilling and all sorts of stuff. And they're, I think, putting all that stuff in there, what looks like expanding foam to me. It's probably a heavy grade. Someone will probably tell you, no, it's not for expanding foam, it's such a thing, or whatever. It's probably concrete, but it looks like expanding foam to me. I think it's concrete, well, that's definitely what it is, and it's all in these bags here. Now here, you've got these two big pumps running here, what it's put in temporarily, and we saw the pipes up the other side, what's pumping 24/7, as it's always been doing, but they're pumping anyway. Comes across the road in this funny pipe, what's flat, so you can drive over it, and you can stand on it, it vibrates. Because it's pumping water, it goes from a circle hose into a flat bit, and it's... Alright, you have to come and over here, cameraman, come and stand on it. Get the feel, the vibrations through your feet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So there you go, and that's what's happening. I've seen I've seen while we've been down here, a few cars hit this fast, and I don't know why people drive fast over bumps, because it just ruins your car. But anyway, I've seen a few people while we've been down here run over this hard, really hard. So yeah, that's what's happening on this side, on Beefop Road. Come over here, come over here. Now you can see here the old pipe and the temporary pipe, but here below it, this is all sand and silt. Now when as I've been saying all the way through this video, the furnace line is built on sand when all the navvies dragged it up to get it to be a banking and an embankment and have a railway on top. It's just sand, all of it's just sand. Oh, sand ballast track, so it is. Right, it's a year later to the actual date. It's the 5th of April 2025, and a whole year ago on the 5th of April 2024 I walked along this very spot when this was getting rebuilt, and I was talking about the semaphore signal behind us because the furnace line is famous for them, and I was talking about it was the only thing not to get knocked down in, when the train came off. So we've come back to finish my video because I've been waiting for the report to come out to get this video edited, and it has come out now, so we'll get on and finish it a whole year later to when we filmed my original TE theory. So we're going to walk up to where the pipes are, what pump out all the water, and show you what's been done since we looked at it a whole year ago today. And a whole year ago today we were in the middle of the eye of the storm. Now it's glorious sun in Grange. We're in a microclimate up here like always, but it's come back again. Let's get up there and have a look. As you can see behind us, it's fully repaired now, the wall. When we were last here, they were scraping it up with a bucket on the digger, all the stones. There's still some debris down here what's not been picked up because it's useless to, you know, it's not very useful to rebuild a wall, so to speak. So they repaired it. Now this has got, cameraman was just pointing out, he went, look at this, look at massive stones on it. The coping stones on top are all a bit disjointed compared to the original wall. Down there, that's obviously been done as well, but it's much neater. So I think they had two teams on the job, nice and neat, and just like, oh, whack it on and get home kind of job. So it's all rebuilt, and now we're just getting down to the bit I want to talk about. But I thought I'd just show you the wall's been rebuilt, and a year ago it hadn't been. Right, so we've come to the business end, so to speak, and here behind us a year ago we still had the original pipe, what had been there for many years. And we had 2 temporary pipes, and then we had 2 pipes pumping out while they were rebuilding the line. But as you can see today, they've got 3 brand new pipes, and as you can see up on the concrete plinth behind, it's a pipe within a pipe, and it's got concrete around it, so it's well reinforced. Now in the report what came out, they said about the tamping machine pierced those temporary pipes, and obviously Network Rail didn't really look at it, and the pressure of it just came out of it, and obviously the trap bed's built on sand, so that all dissolved and a sinkhole appeared. So now it's quite smart now. It looks better than it's ever done, and it's got a viewing tower on top, as I call it, the TE viewing tower, but it's probably more like Stephen Thompson or Nige, or even Francis Beausoir could be on there with his head cam on. And, but I might go and have a look up myself and see what it's like. TE Kingdom up here. I can look down on all my land below and see when they're coming. A bit like the border reavers up in, at Borders, watching them coming for miles and miles. So there you go. I'm stood on top of the new pipes. So anyway, we're up here, brand new wall on top of the pipes, and we're directly above here. This is where the sinkhole was. So you can see there's brand new sleepers, brand new rail down, and then on the other side there's a bit of a fence. What we're going to show you on the other side in a bit. Now when all this railhead was put in, we actually went and saw Stephen Forrest, one of my patrons, who was one of the drivers what delivered some of this rail. So yeah, pretty good. And new sleepers came in, and he did it in a couple of nights, and he got it done. Yeah, it's pretty good. You wouldn't tell that here there was a massive hole for sand, expanding foam. Well, it looked like expanding foam, and a big digger on the tracks because they were scooping up the rocks. Exactly a year ago today. Different now, as you can see, there's Class 156s running down it now as a normal service again. So we're going to walk down to the crossing at Home Island, go across and show you the other side, because it's a bit different on the other side to what we saw it exactly a year ago as well. So I'm going to show you that. Quite a lot of, well, on all Grange shoreline you get quite a lot of driftwood, and you get, it all collects up mainly around Home Island because it's just a big corner for it to come in. And I forgot in this video a year ago I had my gammon stick with me and I forgot to bring it out with me, so I've just snapped off this because it's dead, and I've got another gammon stick, and then when I get home I can just cut it up and put it on the fire because it's dead. You know, we can burn that now, it doesn't have to be seasoned. First of March, well, it's 5th of April today, so like a month ago, 1st of March 2025, there was actually an accident on here. We were actually coming back from Skipton and got major delayed by over 2 hours. And I think it hit the back of a trailer, but 70 plus, like nearly 70 years ago, there's a picture of a laundry van what got hit on here, on Home Island crossing as well, so it's happened before. I think it's either the front end of a trailer or the back end of a trailer, or it's like a back end of a pickup on a van, because I don't understand this. Because if it was a trailer, you know, like a front of a trailer, you have a bit at the front what's high up where you can lean stuff against. But also it could be off a van as well. But it's got trailer lights on it, so it's something off a trailer, but it's had side bits on it, and it's got scaffolding clamps on it, so you can put scaffolding on it. So it's made a right mess, like, and he's just chucked it there and carried on. Because apparently, what we read at the time is he just went on and never stopped. He either never felt he got hit by a train, or he wasn't going to stop, even if he needed to, kind of thing. So I don't know if I have to look into that. I wonder what happened. I wonder if they ever caught who it was. You know what the deal was. But anyway, he's left half of his either vehicle or trailer. I think it hit a trailer, so this must be a part of a trailer. But it looks odd to be part of a trailer. I can't really work it out because it's so mangled. It's like looking at plane wreckage. Can't work out what it is, but it's a trailer wreckage. The big dike what runs down the side of the golf club is still very high, and it's still slightly spilled over into the this is hole 1 along here. It's still slightly flooded. It's not anything like it was, and the road's still wet because the cars have splashed through it. So it's still, even all this time later, you're still having water problems. Not as much as I think we had, because we've had rain, but not as much rain as last year. But it's still so waterlogged, but it's not disappearing. Right, so a year ago I stood on here, and there was a GeoBear van behind us who were experts in filling in large holes, I think, and filling lots of foam in and making the embankment all new again. And also there was a big pipe across the road because Network Rail had some emergency pumps in, pumping out 24/7. What was across here, just exactly across here pretty much. Probably about here actually, where this new pipe goes underneath. Here, across here. And what I didn't say on the other side is the pumps today are not pumping. Now, the original thing was here, when the golf club had their electric pump in that green shed there, they were getting paid 70 quid a day to run that pump, to keep the water out this land coming out, because on the report he said one of the reasons why the sinkhole happened, well, one of the factors really, is there was so much water on this side it was making the embankment sodden and it wasn't really drying out. So that's why the pumps were always pumping really to get it out. So they were getting paid 70 quid a day to run that, and then they had a pump on here, what I'll show you a bit of B-roll what still exists on it's actually a car park at golf club, what used to be parked on here, and up to beginning of last year, 2024, that red pump was on here pumping 24/7 because the electric pump couldn't handle it. And then when they were all rebuilding this, Network Rail put their own pumps in, so golf club didn't have to pay them because they were pumping it out because they were rebuilding it. But now, as you can see, there's no pumping happening, and there's still water, as we've seen. The dikes are still really deep, they're brimming, there's still water on the road. It's not nothing like it was, but it's still watering in, it's still waterlogged, but it's not pumping. So one of the theory is they're not getting paid to use that pump. You know, the golf club, as you know, many golf clubs don't really want to help the someone else pump out it because it's affecting the railway, and they don't want to pay for it because the golf club a year ago lost £30,000 because it was just a big swimming pool. You know, it's just a big pond. They were paying, all the golf members were paying to come and look at a pond with ducks on it. You might as well brought the fishing rods rather than some golf clubs. So I don't know what's happening there because it's not pumping today, and up to many months ago and last year they were still pumping, but it's not pumping today. And also, because it's being waterlogged, when I mentioned the crash on the 1st of March, a month ago, the actually Network Rail found another sinkhole, just a little one, not a big one, just a little one, and they filled it in. It was shut for about a day, and then it was back into running again on the line. So they're still having bits of problems with the embankment going because it's being wet. Because it just still had wet times over this winter just gone. Obviously it doesn't look like it now because it's glorious sun. So anyway, that's the theory. I'd like to say I'm going to put a link below to the Network Rail report, what they all said on it, so it'll be below this video, so you can have a gander yourself and have a scratch your head and see what the everything happened, so to speak. And I hope you enjoyed my TE factual interlude, looking at it from start to finish, from having footage never seen before of when all the police cars arrived to the train off the rails to the big hole, everything else what we filmed. It took a whole year to put this together because I've been waiting for Network Rail's report to go out. So my theory, I'd see how my theory lined up with their theory. So and obviously it's pretty close to what it was really. It wasn't far off off what they said. We're going to get run over in a minute, but if you enjoyed today's video and all the hard work I've put into it, make sure you give us a comment, a like below, a subscribe. There's a Patreon link that support me, TE, doing videos like this, bringing it to you in your front room so you don't have to. And remember to click that big bell. Ding! Right, let's get on to a bit of steam. Tangmere and Blue Peter's coming down the furnace line, and we thought we'd watch it go over the freshly new track and see how it handles it. Can't beat a bit of steam with TE. Now, if you've enjoyed watching today's video, remember next week's video is already with my Patreon. So if you'd like to see next week's video a week early, get yourself on Thomas Edward Patreon so you can see it before everyone else does. Otherwise, you've got to wait a whole week, and I know some of you just can't wait. So get yourself over to Patreon.